In this video, we'll be working some extra problems where we add numbers that are not in base 10. As with the other video of extra problems, please watch the first one and then pause in between each additional one to see if you work the problem correctly. You can stop when you feel very confident with this process. So the very first problem, we're going to be adding in base 5. So we begin by adding 2 plus 3, and we get 5. But remember, in base 5, you can only have numerals 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So therefore, we're going to have to subtract 5. So that means we're going to turn those 5 blocks into a rod. That's why you see me carrying that purple 1. So we really don't have any units left. Now we're going to add. When we add, we get 6. 6 is not a number that's in base 5, so again we're going to subtract 5. So now we have 1 rod left, but we're going to carry, when we subtract those 5 rods, we're going to put them together and make a flat. That's why we have the purple 1 up top. I do it again, I add again, and I wind up with 6. But once again, I can't have a 6 in base 5, so I subtract 5 of those, have 1 left over, and then I carry my 1 again, and then don't forget to bring the 1 down. So 312 plus 243 in base 5 is 1,110 in base 5. So pause this video and work number 2. So number 2, we're going to add again. I can add 1 and 0 and get 1, and that the numbers you can have in base 2, remember, is 0 and 1. I'm going to add again, and I'm great. I get 1. But when I add the 1 plus 1, I get 2, which I can't have a 2 in base 2. So I'm going to subtract 2. So I have 0 in that, in the 2 to the second place. Then I'm going to carry the 1, and then don't forget to bring it down. So your answer is 1,011 in base 2. Now on to number 3. Notice I'm now in base 12, so I have some different kinds of digits. So that E is really an 11. So 11 plus 8 is going to give me 19. Well, I can't have a 19 in base 12. Remember, the highest number I can have in base 12 is 11. So I'm going to subtract 12, so I'll have 7 units left over. I'm going to carry the 1, so I have 1 base 12 rod. Now I'm going to add that to the T, which is 10, plus 9, so that gives me 20. Again, that's more than I can have in base 12. So I subtract 12. I have 8 rods, and then I carry the 1, so I have 1 flat. Now 1 plus 3 flats is going to give me 4 flats. So my answer is 487 in base 12. Let's continue. Number 4, 137 and 274. This is in base 8. So remember, the highest number I can have in base 8 is a 7. So when I add it, I get 11, too big, so I'm going to subtract 8 because I'm in base 8. I'll have 3 units left over. Those 8 turn into a rod. So now I'm going to add all my rods. 1 plus 3 plus 7 should give me 11 rods. That's too many, so I'm going to take 8 away, and that will give me a flat. So I have 3 rods left over, put my flat on top, and I now have 4 flats, which I can have 4. So my answer is 433 in base 8. Let's do one in base 9. 7 plus 8 is going to give me 15. Notice I can't have a 15 in base 9. What's the highest number I can have in base 9? That's an 8. So I'm going to subtract 9 away. So that gives me 6 units left over. I'm going to put that rod up on top. So I have 1 9 rod to add to my 8 and my 5. So I now have 14 rods. Take 9 away again to turn it into a flat, which I carry. I have 5 rods left over. Now I'll add my flats and get 9. I can't have a 9 in base 9, I can only have an 8. So I'm going to subtract 9. So I have 0 flats left over, but I'm going to carry that 1 over so that I have a cube. so or a block. So my answer is 1,056 in base 9. Let's do one more. This is base 7. So the highest number I can have is 6 in base 7. So when I add those, notice I get a 10. So I'm going to subtract 7. I have 3 units left over. I carried my rod that I just created. So now I have 11 rods. Can't have 11 in base 7, so I'm taking 7 away. So I have 4 rods left over. I carry the one up because I now have a flat. So I'm going to add my flat to the other flats. And I have 11 again. So I subtract 7 and carry my 1. So, and then I bring it down. So 1,443 base 7.